powered by Moksha Media.
Hello everybody, welcome to Magnificent Mogul, the brand that promotes entrepreneurs. Today I have with me Stanley Coleman. Hey Stan.
Hey Daymond, thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Stan is normally behind the camera, but today we're going to talk about his entrepreneurial adventures with AgentsDFW. Stan is one half of the business. I am the broker agent behind AgentsDFW, and Stan is the managing partner behind AgentsDFW. And he has become Stan, the real estate man with that business, and we are going to talk all about it. You ready to get started?
I'm ready. Let's get started.
Fantastic. So Stan, why don't we jump right into it? We're going to talk about real estate.
Okay.
First of all, tell us, what made you decide to pursue your real estate license?
Actually, when I lived in Florida, I bought my house in Florida in my early 30s. And at that point, I always had this desire to purchase more real estate or be a real estate owner beyond just having my house.
Gotcha.
So that was the spark of it. Then I moved to Dallas and I got laid off from my job. And I thought, okay, what am I going to do? I said, I'll go to real estate school.
Yeah.
So I said, I'll do real estate. At the same time, I mentioned it to you. You said, oh, I think I will too.
Right.
So that was the spark and the spawn of it.
Gotcha.
Just from being laid off, and it just came in my head walking out of that building. And I said, oh, I think I'll get my real estate license.
Well, do you think it's something that you would consider something that you would love to do? Or?
I love it. I love it. I'm a people's person, and then that aspect of meeting people, dealing with clients. It can be taxing at times, and I've had people say that, but you're like, no. I said, I enjoy it. I just try to give my best to my clients. Even if I'm having a bad day, I still want my clients to see my best.
Got you. Okay. So what excites you about it?
Writing the contracts is very exciting now that I'm more comfortable with it. Walking into a home and, the clients seeing their excitement or their joy.
Yeah.
I had a recent buyer, husband and wife, and we had looked at several properties. It was one side or the other that may or may not have liked it.
Yeah.
But then the three of us walked into this one property that they are now proud owners of, and we all looked at each other and said, oh, this is the house. Mm-hmm. And that was very exciting. So moments like that are very exciting to me.
Yeah. So that's the buyer side. Every real estate transaction has a seller and a buyer side. So what side of the transaction do you think you prefer to operate on?
Initially, the buyer side was more comfortable for me because I wasn't comfortable staging houses and doing that yet. Mm-hmm. And then the market at that time, 2006, 2008, was the buyer's market because there was an inventory of homes just out there.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed working with the buyers. But now I enjoy working with sellers as well.
Okay.
I enjoy, meeting with them, staging their home, getting the photos, the open houses, because that means that I have, I meet potential new customers, and also having my sign out in the yard is advertising that, a person there feels like, oh, if he's listing that house, then he must have a great knowledge about real estate.
Yeah.
So having my sign out there and advertising for AgentsDFW as well as we grow and build the brand, that's very important.
Yeah, got you. Well, I have the feeling that some people watching this video will, they probably are interested in commercial real estate as well because we've been focusing on residential real estate. Why don't you go ahead and explain to the viewers the primary differences between residential real estate versus commercial real estate?
Residential real estate, as what it is, implies residence. It is a residence that you're living in. You can have a residential property and then own several and maybe lease them out. But a commercial property comes into play a little different, almost like this commercial space that we're in now.
Right.
So then you can then wealth, build or generate additional wealth if you have a commercial space, then you're leasing out those spaces.
Right.
So there's a difference. It's more of a commercial building. It's not a resident So that's kind of the difference between commercial and residential.
Gotcha.
Commercial is a great way to go if you want to move into that, that area of real estate. I encourage you, or get with a group to buy a piece of commercial real estate and let that commercial real estate generate income for you.
Right. Okay.
So AgentsDFW most definitely can help you with that, because we brokered this deal for ourselves, that building that we're in.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly how we brokered this spot. We said that we would go out and, try something new with AgentsDFW. We worked this deal, and lo and behold, we have perimeters in. So,
Exactly.
yeah. A lot of people today seem to be still fearful of the real estate market and purchasing real estate. So a lot of people are still really focused on, leasing and renting property, whereas, really, I think they can own property. What do you think is the issue there? What's the disconnect?
I think the first thing is the word fear. I think if you eliminate that word from your move or your desire to move forward in life,
Yeah.
but fear of, I'm going to have to pay that mortgage, I'm going to be stuck with that property.
Yeah.
You shouldn't let that be a factor to deter you from purchasing that property. You own that property. If your job moves you out of town, you still own that property. You can then lease that property. You can work with AgentsDFW and say, hey, I need to lease my house for a short time, and my job is taking me out of town. You still own that property. You'll still, reap from the benefits from a tax break from that property.
Yeah.
So don't let that deter you, or I don't know how the market is going to do.
Right.
No one does. Buying that property, owning that property is key into your growth of your assets.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're mentioning that. Because maybe a lot of people watching this video, they'll go back and kind of take a look at their own personal finances and see how they can start generating wealth from real estate. But that kind of brings another point to mind. Hindsight is 20/20. Because I know, even think for myself, I wish that I had started earlier with getting more involved with with real estate. Tell us, before you got so intimately involved in real estate, what are some things you wish you had known before you got your real estate license and now become the thriving real estate agent that you are now?
I wish I had engaged myself more, or surrounded myself around people who actually were talking about real estate and owning real estate.
Yeah.
My family owned real estate acres back in Mississippi, but it was not a thing of talking about how do I gain more, or what do I put on it, how do I make the property generate income.
Yeah.
The property generated food supply, but it was not necessarily income. So that's not something that I was around. As I got a little older, I started thinking about it, working in the banking industry, but I just wish I had just known more, and that was the ticket, and that was the way to go.
Mm-hmm.
Being around those people, having those types of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when I engage younger people or customers today, or just in general conversation, I have that conversation with them. Do you know the importance of owning real estate?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a small condo or a small property to start out, ownership is very important.
Yeah. Well, I think you said it. I mean, ownership is very important. And, real estate it can lead to entrepreneurial things, even when it comes to owning your own home.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You can turn around and lease your home, and then now you have an income generating property, and you sort of become an entrepreneur. But, with real estate, it's entrepreneurial, so sometimes it can be difficult. What are some difficulties you faced in real estate as far as entrepreneurialism is concerned?
I think the thing is that people don't know how to marry the two. And I, now having more knowledge about real estate, I now know how to marry the two, just like you just said.
Yeah.
As far as owning and then leasing it out, and also having your business ran from your home, that has a tax break as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can take your house, and then a portion of what you're doing from your home, entrepreneurial, okay, I'm running a business. I have an LLC, or I have a DBA. Okay, now I'm talking to my tax consultant, my tax accountant, and he's telling me, certain part of your office, you can write that off, a portion of your bills. Do you meet clients at your house?
Yeah.
All of those things can be factored in.
Yeah.
You are an entrepreneur out of your own home. but there are business aspects that you just need to get in place and take advantage of that.
Right.
So you can still grow, and then you can, if you're thinking about, well, eventually I'm going to transition out of corporate into my own business, that, well, you have your own stepping ground right there. You started it from your home, so you're kind of doing them both at the same time.
Yeah.
Until you get more business up, and then you can say, I know I can do the transition.
Yeah. Thank you so much for dropping that nugget of knowledge. I guess I hadn't even really thought about that until you said it, but even thinking from my own perspective, I have to admit that's one of the best things, when it comes to real estate and the tax breaks. And I'm so glad, for my accountant, because it's helped me out tremendously. But yeah, that's the one thing that I think people have got to focus on is when it comes to real estate, the tax breaks on the back end would help you so much more.
Yeah, and even branching out, if you want to branch out to be an entrepreneur, just branching out, even if you're now leasing a house, you can still take advantage of that if your apartment is set up as such that you have a second bedroom, and then you can still start that, and that from that business aspect. I know it's a little different from real estate, but just to get your mind thinking of, what can I do to move into maybe being a mogul.
Right.
So,
well, here's an interesting question. So we're in an election year.
yes.
How do you think the new presidency is going to affect the real estate?
I don't think it'll, on the grand scheme of things, I don't think it'll have an effect.
Okay.
There's just so much President Obama did, and a lot of people, I know they were saying, oh, the growth was so slow, but we came from a negative. So you have to take, if you're at 98%, you need to be at 100, and then you start counting anything over 100. Or if you're at -5 and you finally get to 0, you still have to count that as growth.
Mm-hmm.
So now you say, oh, we only have 2% growth. No, typically, basically, you have 7% growth.
Right.
So you're not stagnated, and as much in the DFW market, our homes have always been moderately priced anyway, so we didn't take a big hit back in 2006, 2008.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't foresee it having an effect on the next 2 years with all the growth that's going on. Mm-hmm. Will it slow down? Yes, it may slow down to a small degree, but I do not see it stop. It will continue to move forward. It's just too much happening.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think most of the thing, what's strange about it to me is it seems that sometimes elections, it's stated in the media that elections affect the real estate climate, but in actuality, I think it's the media that's affecting the real estate client by putting out certain messages.
Yeah, and there's certain messages because if you think about it, even with all this that's been going on, if you drive down any street right now, you can see construction has not stopped.
Right.
They're trying to complete those projects and try to make sure that, okay, we have the curve where we need to be. So that never stopped. And if the banks didn't indicate anything, and so you're locked into your rates that you have, construction companies have not stopped at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's on a national client. You don't really see anything major happening. But what about forecasting for DFW? Because that's our market. What are you forecasting for, for DFW itself?
I forecast continued growth. I don't have a crystal ball and I can not predict the future.
Yeah.
But I personally forecast that there will be continued growth. Okay. I do not foresee it slowing down anytime soon. In this market, because there's just so many unfinished projects. There's so many people still moving in, and I mean the hustle and the bustle of the DFW. I mean, if you walk outside right now, I'm sure you can turn at 180 and count 5 cranes.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So there's a lot of movement and growth in Dallas. We're going to be the next New York. I guess it'll be southern New York, a place to visit between here, Arlington, and Fort Worth. 3 major cities, and every one of those cities has some major attraction going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's take it back to you. What do you see as your ultimate goal for personally with AgentsDFW and you as a realtor?
As a managing partner, I foresee us growing as an agency. We're expanding into different markets. It's only been the 2 of us, and I think we've done a great job. And then, but still, we want to expand and grow. So my push and what I want for myself, personal goal, is to bring on more agents,
Right.
new agents, or seasoned agents who want a change, who maybe don't want to deal with the the bureaucracy or the dues and fees, but want someone who can give them that one-on-one training, and not always having to send them to a class. But keep your education up like I need to keep mine up. But building the agency and making it a national agency.
Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm all on board with that. So Stan, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here, but I want to ask you a bonus question. What has been your proudest, happiest moment with AgentsDFW as a realtor?
There has been my proudest moment, of course, was my license, passing my test, and sitting there and the screen splashed pass.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that was a relief. I couldn't even drive. I was so nervous afterwards.
Yeah.
But then the most exciting thing, also to couple that, would have been my first client.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at Presbyterian Hospital here in Dallas, and I worked with Miss Eula Smith. I always call her Miss Smith, and she entrusted her daughter Tanya with me to represent her as a buyer.
Gotcha.
So having that first buyer, and then be able to say, yes, I'm now a licensed realtor, and I've actually done a full transaction. That was very exciting for me.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
I would imagine so. Well, Stan, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Why don't you share with everybody your contact information?
You can reach me at stanrealtor06@gmail. You can reach me on Facebook, Stan Realtor, or Stanley Coleman Realtor. You can reach me on AgentsDFW.com, Twitter, and all of this, Stan Realtor.
Thank you so much, Stan. Thank you for coming on board in front of the camera for Magnificent Mogul. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Not a problem.